still from Thanksgiving. I know I am. So I hope that we can keep you entertained for the evening or that you don't fall asleep. Let's put it that way. At this time, we will have a prayer to open our meeting by Trustee Anderson. And after that, the Pledge of Allegiance by student Shasta Denton from Mount Harrison. Any changes or additions? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval of our agenda.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Sukan, second by Mr. Parker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have an agenda. On our consent agenda tonight with the items of minutes, payment of bills, treasurer's report, student body and activity reports, disposition of district property and fixed assets, travel requests, and personnel. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Is this when we need to make the, okay. When we approve this, then I need to have someone make mention of extended suspension of 5 days for student number 2 on personnel. I mean on
Yes.
student number 2. That's what I couldn't find. I apologize. Yeah, we're holding. Holding some.
Yeah, I think on the consent agenda, the thing that we had discussed holding was going to be personnel.
That is correct.
The salary schedule.
Yeah, the salary schedule for personnel.
Salary schedule. That's
We're going to
what
hold
it
that
was.
over.
Okay, so that would be withholding the salary schedule from the personnel part of our agenda for the consent agenda. Okay, so there is a change in item number E, salary schedule, and so that will be held for further discussion. And at this time, are there any other comments or questions regarding consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, then the consent agenda, other than item E, is approved with unanimous consent. We do not have a Minidoka student tonight, am I right? Oh, she's not over there. That's why I was surprised. I apologize. We are switching it up tonight. We would request that you stand here so that perhaps we can hear you a little bit better.
Okay. Can you all hear me?
There is a microphone. Yeah, sorry.
Hello?
There
Can you
you
hear me?
go.
Okay. Hi, how are you today?
Yeah, the school board representative for Minico,
Do me a favor and repeat your name so we all remember.
Ellie.
Thank you.
Yes. I have some exciting news, like really excited. I'm really excited about them. Starting by Super Bowl, I'm really proud to say that between Burley and Minico, we all together collected over 20,000 cans, which was really good. Following, we have our football team who made it to playoffs, which is like also really good. I'm really excited about that too. They took a spirit bus, which was great and was really fun to be in it. We had our trunk and treat, which was a huge success as well. We had 13 clubs and organizations participating on it. So yeah, it was really fun to be there, and we ran out of candy. So I guess the goal was achieved. Also, for student cancel, we went to state last week. I think if I'm yeah, I'm really bad with dates. However, I'm really proud to say that we got first place. I'm gonna explain you on what. So each year we do kind of like a portfolio with like a lot of pictures and a lot of explanations of our activities that we do through the year. So when that portfolio is done, we send it to the state and they judge it. And I guess we were the best school out of all states. So yeah, we got first place, which is really exciting. Um, Also, we got donations for the cancer awareness. This is our second year doing it. We donated $1,200 to Minidoka Memorial, and well, yeah, we're excited and about next year too. We also had our picture day and senior profits. If anyone missed it or would like to redo it, the makeup day is Thursday, December 2nd. We did Friendsgiving, and I'm actually I'm really sad about it because I didn't get invited. But anyways, so they did Friendsgiving for Hope Squad, and it was great for people who wanted to socialize a little bit better. Uh, I would like to thank Chantiville for letting me use their faculty for Harvest, was really cute too, like a lot of decorations. My day wasn't that cute, but anyways, it was fun. For more sports, and our girls basketball are doing so great. I'm actually becoming a fan. Uh, However, the rest of our teams are not starting yet until next week. That will be the boys basketball that I'm actually a little bit more excited about that one. But yeah, and wrestling. Um, Also for this year, you know how we always do an assembly for gift and green. This year we decided to change it and be a little bit more dynamic, and we're doing a carnival. So we're gonna have some games, some tournaments. We're gonna make some donations, and we're gonna see how that goes. It's our first year trying it, and we're really excited to see how that turns out. So our next meeting will be December 19th, and I will be in my break, so I won't be here. However, I wish everyone a really good Christmas break and Happy New Year's. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're becoming a fan of girls basketball? You weren't before?
I used to play when I was like eighth grade, but I have all knees.
Oh.
Jeans. So I decided to quit it. And yeah, now I'm a little bit more excited about basketball boys because they're kind of cute. But
I,
girls are doing great though. They're kind of good.
I love your honesty. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Allie. Boys basketball is cute. Make sure you go. I don't know. Maybe they have better legs. Who knows? Asequa Elementary. No, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize, Heather. Mount Harrison. I know there are students here from Mount Harrison. Just a night of errors.
Hello. Good afternoon, guys. So today I'm going to be telling you what's been happening at Mount Harrison High School. So, can you guys hear me good? Okay. So we had 3 people graduate last first quarter. and we're having up to 5 to 7 people graduate this quarter. And we had a Halloween dance and hopefully a Valentine's Day dance. And for October we got to wear pink for breast cancer awareness every Wednesday. And then we're like a small school, but we made quite a bit of money to give to them. And I'm gonna pass you to. Oh, did I say my name?
No.
No. Okay, sorry guys. My name is Nailea Castillo, and
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna pass you to Kieran.
So what has been happening is we had BPA had a comp on the 2nd. Our yearbook went to St. Louis for yearbook, and we had a Veterans Day dinner. That's it.
Great.
Hi, I'm Shasta Denton. Some things that are coming up at our school, we are doing a BPA competition on the 2nd, and Erica, she's going to be at our next meeting, right? Erica Abrego, she's qualified for state competition. The end of our quarter is the 15th next month. That's going to be the end of our quarter and our semester. We do casual fundraisers. Our last casual fundraiser was Tuesday, and we raised $147 for our school. And we do our student showcase on December 8th.
So I'm Chris Gibson, and I came up to talk about our student council hoodies that we're wearing. We decided to wear them just so we could stand out, because student council is important. And it was all donations for how we paid for it. And Lookout Credit Union, they donated $300, and then Adria Masoner donated the rest of it, so that way we could have our hoodies. I'll pass it off
Very
to.
nice.
My name is Rose, and I'm going to be talking to you about the fundraisers. So, like she said, we did breast cancer awareness during October, and we raised $205 that went towards mammograms for those who couldn't afford them. And we did that veterans dinner. We took donations from others, but veterans did eat free that day. And like the casual day, it was $1 for a hat and $2 for casual, 3 for both. And that's all I got.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for any of the young people?
I'm Lexi. I have to present for Lexi.
Oh, well, hello, Lexi.
Hi, Lexi. So we have a humanitarian project we decided on today. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm used to my voice being so loud that I don't, yeah. We want to hear you.
Cam, So we are doing a humanitarian project. We started it today. We are celebrating Maslow's 4th birthday by having a drive to help the animal shelter. So students and parents and community are encouraged to bring in clean blankets, towels, and unopened pet food. And that will be going to the Minidoka Joint Powers Animal Shelter. And that's for his 4th birthday. And that'll be going on all this week. And the ladies are going to hand out a flyer. So if anybody's interested in donating, that's what we're doing. So, yes, yeah. And we just threw this, we decided on it this morning and we said we were going to do it. And these kids make stuff happen. So that is what we were doing. So, all right. And then the kids that donate are getting put in for a drawing. So Maslow's giving away his birthday presents. So, all right. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. I do want to say that when you're giving blankets and things for animals, make sure it's something that is absorbent. Any kind of material that doesn't absorb water or urine well does not help out in any way, shape, or form. We have plenty of experience with that at our clinics. So, but definitely always need things like that. And you're right, the dogs do love big towels best. Much more comfortable. thank you for coming and presenting again and for bringing your crew. Thank you. Okay, Mrs. Hepworth.
Okay. Oh, we're on. Good evening. Super excited to present Asequa's good news to you. Our Eagle Learning Center is new this year, although the classroom has been there since Asequa was built. So it's formally known as our self-contained room. But we took a good facelift to it this summer and spent many hours working with Sherry Bingham along with other special ed folks within the district and SESTA to create new opportunities for our little Eagle learners. And just so some of you are aware, so Asequa houses what would it be the lowest incidence for the elementary schools in the district. So we have students that come to us from Paul, Hayburn, and Rupert Elementary, and there's 14 students in that program. So part of the details that happened, so we looked at everyone's schedules and took each student and rewrote what their day looked like. Took a long time for 14 students, but we did it trying to give them as many opportunities to be in our general education classrooms as possible. We brought new staff on board. We had quite the turnover this last year, and so we took that as a wonderful opportunity to bring on some new energy and different ideas. We did PD for all staff in our building. That included, that was done in September from SESTA. And then just the added support, so giving them what they've needed to help make this function. And then really looking at the curriculum. What are we doing on a day-to-day basis with those kids? And really turning things more into a life skills course. Any questions before I go on? So the next slide you'll see is just our team. We have 2 certified teachers there, Janine Green and Clancy Sayer. Both of them are new to us this year. And then 3.5 paraprofessionals. Here's my plug. We still need 1.5 paraprofessionals, and it's been this way for a few months. So we are at our bare minimum, but doing the best that we can to meet everybody's needs. So what inclusion looks like at Asequa, we have given 7 of the 14 students actually a general education teacher, and they are assigned to them in Power School. They are a part of their classroom. They have a desk and a chair, and that has just been a wonderful way to make them feel safe in the classroom. And these 2 pictures you will see other students helping, as well as we used to assign just a table in the lunchroom for all of them to go to, and we have given any of them an opportunity if they want to go sit with their friends, they can. And so you can see a little picture of that. And this is a quote from one of our teachers that I will take a minute to read to you. My 2nd grade class is fortunate to have Santi in our classroom. You can always find him with a smile on his face and hugging the closest person to him. He loves his friends and will do anything he can to make them smile. My class has benefited greatly from having him in our classroom. We have learned to slow down, be a little more helpful, and accept everyone for who they are. He is one of us, and we're the lucky ones. And there you will see Santi with his teacher and another student. And this is probably by far my favorite picture we've taken this year. But this little girl for the last 3 years at Asequa has not spoken one word, and she talks her ear off now. So she's making eye contact, and these 2 girls have taken her under their wing. And it has just been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to be a part of. So, any questions? It's so good. It's great news.
Thank you, Mrs. Hepworth. We always like hearing of the successes and where things are going well. Thank you very much. All right, at this point, Oops, sorry. Am I correct, Mr. Schindler? You have something special you wanted to show us tonight.
Yeah. Am I loud enough for everybody or?
I think so. As long as you continue to talk loud. If I start going like this, you know.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, so my name's Louis Schindler. I'm the chairman of the Idaho Regatta, and I'm here tonight to kind of give you a little explanation about a trophy that we started a couple of years ago. The first year, it was kind of a prototype deal, and we did it very quickly in 30 days. And the guys over at the CSI Tech Center built the first trophy for us because we were in a very short time frame. Last year, we decided to do it. What we did is we made it a scholarship type deal. And what it does is we ask the youth in our tech classes or high school students to build the trophies for us, and we pay them scholarship money for this and stuff. And last year we paid out $6,000 to well, there was only two students. We only had one entry last year, and so there was two students that built trophies for us. So one got $2,000, the other one got $1,000. Then the kids that race in the junior hydro classes at our event got $1,000 each for first, second, and third place. Is how we paid it all out. The way this got started is the adults in the racing classes made it very clear to me that the kids were not eligible for the Faulkner Trophy that we pass out or that we hand out for coming closest or exceeding the speed record, and it kind of irritated me that we try to teach our kids to be in the sport, take up where we leave off, and to have a goal to achieve. And when I found out that they weren't going to let the youngsters in boat racing achieve this goal, I decided to make my own trophy. So that's how this all got started. So it worked. Like I said, it works is we ask the students of the deals to build our trophies for us. The reason I'm here presenting this to you is because I don't know if this got all passed out to all the schools last year because we only had, like I said, we only had one entry. So I just wanted to present it, make everybody aware of it, that it's available to students to enter this contest to build our trophies for the youth class. And that's about it. And if you got any questions or anything, I'll be glad to answer them.
So you're a month away from needing your entries then.
Excuse me?
Trophy must be designed and built by the individual selected and submitted for approval no later than January 1st. So you're just a month away from needing these?
Yeah, we're a month away. So they got a month to submit their entries. I'm a little bit behind because of personal reasons this year on doing regatta stuff. So I'm coming at you guys a little bit late with this. Normally I present this in like September, October, but I'm kind of behind on a few things. But I try to get here as soon as I could. And like I said, this information can all be emailed out. I have this all on my computer, so I can email it to anybody. Like I said, I relied on them over at the tech center to help me get this passed out last year, and I don't know if it got to everybody. So this is why I'm here presenting it to the school board, because I want to get everybody involved in it.
Could you email it to Carrie Tibbetts? Would you mind emailing that to Carrie Tibbetts?
She's our board clerk, and she.
Yes, yeah, I gave her a copy.
Okay,
y'all
perfect.
have copies.
Right, we all have copies. We're
So-
just thinking that that way it could be emailed to all of the, you wouldn't have to do it. We could get an email
Right.
to all of the principals so that they can get the word out among their schools.
Exactly. That's why I'm here tonight presenting this to you guys, because you have a little bit more resources of getting the information out to the students than I do.
Yeah,
So,
that would be great.
right. Any more questions or?
These are the most unique trophies I've ever seen. I think they're great.
Well, like I said, I'm trying to get more community involvement in the regatta and stuff. It's a very difficult thing to get people to participate in. Unfortunately, I don't know why. You know, I've only been involved with it for like 15 years, and I've been the chairman for 7 years. And so, like I said, but this kind of just irritated me when some adults made it very clear that the kids weren't eligible for the trophy. And so I decided that, well, I'll just make a trophy. And the really cool thing about having the kids do this is the adults, they get the same old ugly trophy every year. Okay. With this, it's made by students for other eligible kids. And not only that, the trophy changes every year. No one will ever get the same trophy twice. So that's what I like about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing this with us. Does anybody have any further questions for Mr. Schindler?
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
Oh, yes. I appreciate you guys letting me come in last minute. Thank you very much.
you are welcome. Thank you. Okay. I have a request to address us from Nicole Toner. And if I may ask you a few questions, is this regarding just the policy statement or?
It's regarding just the one policy that's written from the ISBA, the draft copy,
Okay,
where
okay,
you're doing your second reading
right, okay,
tonight. We're just asking that maybe it goes back to the policy committee. We have a few ideas of some changes that might make it more appealing to those that are coming to our district. Because we know of some people that have gone online and read some of our policies and they're like, I'm not sure I want to be included in that. So we want to help make this more appealing to outsiders coming in.
so you have suggestions that
Yes.
have they been given to Mrs. Woodmeyer, who is the,
We talked to her tonight,
okay,
and
and
I am
so-
going to attend the next meeting.
okay, so you've gotten some of the answers that you wanted?
Yes.
Okay, so at your request, you're requesting that we do not, that we hold it over and do not vote on it tonight is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, and we'll, I thought it was.
Or is it already discussed?
Yeah.
Number four.
Number 4, policy DS 590.5, classified employment assignment and grievance, second reading. It's number 4. So we are being asked to pull that one. So we can, with your approval, we will just pull that one tonight. Unless anybody disagrees.
When we get to that.
When we get to that. Okay.
Sorry, real quick, Bonnie, what we're looking at here on 59950, this is not with those changes that you're requesting.
She's just asking that it not be passed tonight if I get this correctly. They want it to be looked at again by the policy review committee.
Great. Thank you.
With their recommendations.
Yes.
Okay.
And so since she's already talked to Mrs. Woodmeyer and is aware of the next policy review committee meeting, then I think that covers it. We just need to pull it at the correct time. All right. First item for discussion is the review of revised job descriptions. Whoa, sorry. I need to bite you. Reviewed job descriptions that were in our packet tonight. Did you have any further comments, questions, or any comments and questions? I think that we had a little bit of comment earlier when we had our agenda review that we want to have some more discussion on some of them.
I would like some more discussion on them and they be held.
Okay.
But I'm just putting that out there for discussion.
Yeah, I'd like some more time to review and just look it over before we made it.
Okay. All right. everybody? Okay, so,
Do we need a motion?
no, this is
No,
discussion,
okay.
so,
We're just talking.
yeah, that would be under business number D, and so we can do it then. School-wide improvement plans, that was a lot of fun reading. I'm just making the sassy comment that we had a lot of reading for this board book. I'm sorry, it was just a lot. But I can tell there's been a whole lot of work put into doing all of those. And I think the people who take the time to write that and come up with it are to be commended. I know that it's a lot of work and there's a lot of discussion and a lot of questions. And so I know Mrs. Widmeyer, you're involved with a lot of that, and each of the administrators from their schools. That's a lot to look at. And I hope that it's all helpful to you as you go about looking at what can be done to improve your schools and taking the time to look deep within yourselves for what's going on in your schools. So, does anybody else have any other comments? I realize it's a requirement, you have to do it, but I just think it's a lot of work and you are to be commended. It's not always easy to look at your own faults and problems and try and fix them. Anyone else have any comments? In-service middle school request. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I have to get it bigger so I can read it. Would you like to address this a little bit so we can answer some questions regarding this? Ms. Birch?
Okay. Hello. Yes, sure. I'm Courtney Birch, and I had reached out to the board because I am the choir teacher for East and West Minico Middle School, and we had about a month ago several students audition, and out of those students, 10 students from our district made it into the All-State American Choral Directors Association Honor Choir. So that was a lot. I have been attended this event before and brought 3 students. I was very excited for them, and each student has to pay then $125 to register for the event, and also we will have to purchase hotel rooms for them. Where the choir has an account and we fundraise, it's not that kind of money. So I had researched ways to reach out and see if there were ways to help these students so that they could have a little bit of help and maybe not have to pay their entire way. And that's where I had reached out and requested that the board cover part or all of the cost for those students. And I am here to just kind of recap that and answer any questions about that.
How much money are you looking at?
So my initial request was based on the estimate for their registration and an estimate for the hotel rooms, which was $2,750, and then it was recommended that I request half of that amount and have the students pay the other half. Since that point, one student has dropped. They will no longer be participating, and I have asked the remaining 9 students to turn in half of their registration fee so that we at least have that much. And then I told them to stay tuned until after this board meeting to find out if they needed to continue to pay the other half the registration and hotel, or if part of that would be covered. And then I would let them know the updated amounts.
$2,750 would be if everything was covered.
That would be if everything was covered. Excuse me. And that was an estimate. Like I said, there's new information that may affect that amount.
Madam Chair, if I could ask a question actually of Mrs. Kidd. If we've had this similar situation with high school students, what have we done in those situations? Do you know, as far as covering costs? They fundraise. Okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Is this along with the high school or is this totally on your own?
The event occurs in concurrence with the high school all-state choir. The middle school portion of the event is sponsored by American Choral Directors Association. The in-service event is sponsored by NAFME, or Idaho Music Educators Association, so they kind of work together. So we would be traveling together as a group. We would be staying in the same hotel, but the middle school has their own choir. Then the high school has their own choir, band, and orchestra that would attend this event in different
And so,
areas of the city.
okay, I understand the high school usually spends the night, but it's only in Pocatello. So why is the timing that's off
It's
that you have to have them up there?
Yes, it's an overnight event. It's from February 1st through 4th. So we check in on a Wednesday night. They rehearse for 2 full days, perform, and then return.
Okay, so what time in the morning do they start? What time in the night when they get done?
They check in at 6:30 in the evening on a Wednesday, and then I don't have the detailed schedule yet for the morning rehearsals, but it's full day. It's like all day they rehearse through Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday morning, like I said, return.
So could they go up Thursday morning rather than Wednesday night?
They do have a registration Wednesday night. I will have to look. Like I said, I don't have detailed schedules yet. But as a group, we usually register Wednesday evening.
When do
That's
the
their.
fees have to be paid by?
Well, they were actually due last week, and I requested an extension for the registration.
Okay.
For the hotel, that would be due closer to when we went,
Which is in February.
which is in February. Depending on how we, pay for that, it's all closer like you would with a hotel room. Correct.
Yeah. I wonder,
Correct,
is there
because it's
anything
an
that
all-state
is there
event.
anything that could be done fundraiser wise over the next month or two, and then we see where we're at with what has been raised and what the difference is?
That's
Just
a
asking.
potential. I typically do my fundraisers in May, and that's what I have done in the past. I have been looking into alternate fundraiser options as well. Where it gets dicey is that our season is winter concert in December, and then district honor clinic in January, and then this event in February. So it just depends on how much we can pull off in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So,
And how many chaperones do you have going?
I am planning on taking 2 adult chaperones in addition to myself, just for my middle school group.
Okay.
To cover those students.
So 9 students, 3 adults.
9 students, 3 adults.
And the junior high students are staying in the rooms with the high school students?
Not in the same rooms, but the same hotel. Because the high school's bringing like 7 students total, and we're bringing 9.
Is this the first time you've ever participated in this?
This is my second time, but the first time I only had 3 students participating, and so we basically just squeezed them into a room with the high schoolers, which again isn't going to work with 9 additional students. And I believe each student paid their own way for their registration fee. And we ended up not having to charge them a hotel fee because, like I said, we just squeezed them in. But this is a whole bigger group. So
What's the benefit to the students?
that is a great question. The students who attend this event get a ton of instruction out of it. They bring in a guest conductor. This year's guest conductor is a professor of choral music. And what they gain from it is that experience of they have to show up to the event prepared with their music already. And they already had to audition to make it in. Out of the state, we had over 300 students audition, and 195 students made it in. Of those 195, 10 were the ones from our school district. So they go and they gain that experience with that conductor, that experience of preparing additional music. This is all on top of their course load. It's outside of what we do in class that's connected with their curriculum. Excuse me. And then they get to come back, and the hope is that they then become leaders in their choir and teach the rest of us what they learned from that experience. And that builds that excitement and just that desire to continue challenging themselves with the other students who weren't able to attend this event.
Obviously got some pretty skilled students, it sounds like.
What's that?
I said you've obviously got some pretty skilled students, it sounds like.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Do you have any ideas on possible fundraisers for next year's event? Should this come up again?
That is a great question also. This is a first for me, and I was not expecting that response from the students this year. So it's all new. I don't have a good answer for that question yet. I will have to think about that some more.
Have you approached the PTAs of the different junior highs to see if there's anything there?
I have discussed with one of the middle schools. I've been working with them.
There is no PTO.
Correct. Correct. It doesn't.
Okay.
Correct.
I do know at West Minico I helped coach football. We did a fundraiser. We do have a little bit of additional funds that I think we were looking at using for equipment, but I wonder if we could divert a little portion of that to help out. The fundraiser's already been done. We already have the money. So I don't know. I think that might be an avenue at least we can explore. I just think we need to look at every avenue we possibly can before we look at fully funding this.
Well, you said $27.50?
$27.50 was the full amount, and then half of that would be
$13.25.
$13.25.
Okay, so does anyone have any suggestions, possibilities, or what are you thinking?
Would it be possible to scrape up enough money to get them half funded for this year, where it was kind of unexpected, and then
She's looking at you, Michelle.
Maybe next year come up with a great fundraising plan.
I'm looking toward Kim because you cross the little line and
I know.
Yeah.
And then they're going to say why you're picking up not the high school folks.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Jeff and Megan about possibly working with that?
As in combining our fundraisers, or
Just like if your students help with Madrigal dinner, if Jeff would be willing to help a little bit.
that has not come up before. As far as our students.
Well, maybe that would be a great avenue to explore.
If your students would be able to help with Madrigal dinner, that's too full.
I'm not sure how we would do that. I mean, we haven't had that conversation, but I'm just thinking that it's very pre-planned, and I don't know how we would combine.
They could help with setup. I mean, they couldn't be any other performers, obviously, because the high school kids are already prepped for that and trained. But if they could, if there's something they could do to help with Madrigal dinner.
That's something we could ask.
And then maybe the district could pay the busing for all. And so Courtney,
Yeah.
one point you guys are planning on taking 3 minibuses,
Right, we had talked.
one bus.
Correct.
So could it be possible you could take one bus and take everybody and maybe the district covers the busing forever?
We talked about that, and we said if we took one bus, I know it's different, but then we would also have to have the driver stay all of the days so that they could get us to the different locations. Because once we get there, there are separate locations for the different groups.
Jeff usually drives, so I'm just curious, where you can.
Well, the thing is about this event that's unique also is that each of us directors has meetings as well. So we can't commit to being the driver and going to our committee meetings. So that's what gets sticky. But I mean, that is an option that we would be okay with.
On the level.
Keep it
All
equitable.
parties. All on the level field.
I like that idea a lot.
I like it.
I would think you would talk to Mr. Collier and see if you could help with that dinner.
Okay.
And then.
Maybe transportation can kind of drag it.
And that could be too. Who knows?
Okay.
I'm excited that they're going to do it. I think
Yeah.
we're really tight, obviously, on getting the funds in, and I think we need
Understandable.
to explore every avenue we possibly can
Absolutely.
to do similar to what the high school is doing, which is self-funding it through fundraisers. Yeah, I, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea, and your kids worked very hard to get there.
Yeah.
I personally have a hard time at the junior high going and spending the night. That's a little tough when I had some junior high kids that did that, and it wasn't pretty. But as long as you've got your chaperones and they're good chaperones, I don't know.
Well, high school's also taking several chaperones.
Yep.
Okay.
More than we probably ever had.
Okay. Okay.
You got to plan for that if you're going to do that. Have you
So,
approached?
if we help with busing, I mean, if the district pays for busing and does both middle school as well as high school, will this be a boon to you that you feel like you could still make it work and go?
It would just mean that we would have to do more fundraising / bringing the students, bringing their own,
Okay.
paying their own way, if you will.
Do you believe that that is doable and not too many students would get left out because of it?
Short notice.
Depends on
I
the
know,
student. It
Uh,
really depends on the student.
Have you approached any industries about possibly funding?
I have not for this specific event.
How about something like Dot Foods? They have a grant program.
I have not for this specific event. We had a sponsorship at West Minico, but I have students from both West and East attending. And so I feel like it doesn't make sense to use it for both if the students are attending East Minico. But it's another avenue I can explore. And I could try for this specific event to reach out for that sort of thing.
There's some pretty generous industries out there. I think if they knew specifically what you were going to do, I think some of them would come forward with some money.
Mr. Kniep, I got a question.
good.
Mr. Kniep,
You, Mr. Van Avery, I was about
Mr.
ready
Kniep?
to pop cork.
sorry, I've got a question for you guys too. I'm sorry. So with the PTO, so at West, we do have some money in our fund that we collected through the PTO. Is that something we just talked to Amy Patterson about?
You have to talk to her. Here's why. It's a parent-teacher organization. I have nothing
Okay.
objected with that legally. I can't.
Okay,
So that's
fair
something
enough.
the parents would vote on.
Can I get your contact information? I'll talk with Amy Patterson because I just looked up what she last emailed me that was in our fund from what we collected for football, and we have some money left. I think you would still need to do some additional fundraising, but we might be able to help, especially with those students that wouldn't be able to go otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, and I am scheduled to meet with her about our portion of it too to see what we can use it for and if this would be something that would be appropriate. So I'm in contact with her as well, but
Okay,
I will
so
give you my information.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. And if you get a hold of Mr. Collier, I think that you guys might be able to work something out there.
I will talk to him. We talk often, so I will talk
And
with him
maybe
about
we
that
can
idea.
transportation would help what they do. And I'll let you we can let you talk to him about that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ramsey has an idea for you.
Oh,
No,
yes.
I don't. I just, when we needed money, we would always, like you said, you're doing a concert in Christmas, December. Why would you not be able to charge a ticket?
A donation.
Oh,
A
I
donation
apologize.
at
Not
the door.
charge, but have a donation.
A donation at the door to help go to concert or help go to.
I mean, they don't mind giving if they're helping 9
Right.
kids get to the next level.
Yeah,
It's a thought.
it's a good idea.
Yeah, donation to raise money for blah blah blah.
Okay,
Thank
does
you.
this give you some ideas?
Yes, thank you.
And then could you come here for a second, please? This is personal, sorry.
No. No, she did it.
saying,
did we make you work hard for that? We're sorry, but we had a lot of questions.
It's okay. That's why I was here.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for helping us understand.
well, and thank you for encouraging the interest in young people for music. That's near and dear to my heart. So
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
is.
Okay. Any questions on any of the administrator department or committee reports before we head into a little bit of giving some information on what else we learned at the ISBA convention? Anybody have any comments or questions? So how's the concession stand coming, Mr. Van Avery?
I'm sorry,
I know you were.
Way to
you.
go.
No, how's the concession stand?
I can report on things if you like. Just take a second.
I will let you.
I'm not on the agenda, but
No, you're not.
I was told to be here by Mr. Ramsey, Jason Van Avery. I'm over maintenance department, and anyway,
sorry.
I could have a beard one day and not the next. But so the concession stand is basically we have it to the point where we've got in the actual concessions area, we've got some cabinets to build. We've got to figure out what we're going to put in there for fridge and different things like that. That part won't be too bad to finish. We have they got the natural gas pipeline run out there 2 weeks ago, for obviously for heat and for water. Basically, we're dollars and cents wise, Michelle. I'm not going to say, but we got to keep it under 500,000. So.
I stuck on their budget report. They've already seen it. I put it at 550. So.
Yeah. So, but no, we're probably going to get some volunteers to help us out on the actual impact area out there this spring. It didn't work out this fall. We just kind of short help and stuff. We're going to try to do it all in house and stuff. Get some trees donated and that. But yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions we have for maintenance?
Timeline?
That timeline on that, we have to have it up and actually running for softball, which they start in February, March, whatever that is. Todd McGee's. Yeah. But yeah, there's running water out there. We winterized it just precaution because we didn't get the actual heat in the mechanical room. And just if I can shift away from that subject, the question was asked about a CEQA. Anybody has any questions about that, they can call me at 260-0855. I know that Ramsey's got a lot of questions. Had asked him about it. We're about 8-10 weeks out to get that project complete where the doors were damaged out in the front of that school. So the doors were ordered as of Friday.
I was going to say, so it's new doors, new windows. And
yeah, the inside rim of that vestibule is complete change out.
Yeah.
The outside part is 3/4 of it's getting changed out. And they're going to have to weld them all back in. And so that's quite a project out there. But I can't think of any other things that are hot on the agenda. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Van Avery. Any other committee reports that you want to hear anything about? Okay. I'm going to start on my left. Mr. Perez, would you please start telling us some of what you learned and want to share with us at the ISBA convention?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Since Mr. Van Avery just talked, especially about the doors, one of the things, obviously, we had just found out right before we left about the car driving through the front of your school. I went to a security class while I was there, and one of the things they talked about is having bollards in front of the schools. As the guy brought it up before I even said anything, he said just bollards will help. He's like, you just don't ever want anyone driving through your school, and I was like, funny you may say that. And so anyways, just something that was very simple as far as that's concerned. Also with security, they talked about hedges being, below 2 feet, trees being above 6 foot as far as branches. So very simple things that we can do that really will improve the security around our schools. some pretty simple stuff like that. But the main thing I wanted to talk about tonight, when I got asked if I would consider being on the school board, I thought long and hard about it. And one of the main reasons why I said yes was I felt like as a parent that the communication in our school district was not, as a parent, what I liked. I didn't see it being very easy to know what was going on with my kids at the high school level, at the elementary, and in the junior high. I just didn't never know what was going on. I didn't know where to find that information. And so when I said yes and decided to come onto the school board, I made that a priority that I wanted to focus on improving the communication in our school district. I think it's extremely important as we're going to continue to grow that when parents are considering going to Kaja or to Minidoka, things have got to look good. It has to look like they've got things going well at Minidoka. The communication looks good. And if it doesn't, it's really easy for a parent to say, I'm going to go to Kaja. And I don't want that. So I went and I sat through a bunch of communication classes and different things. And one that I was really excited about was one of the vendors that was there. And they had a web platform that also had a really nice app base to it. I have been extremely frustrated. So one of the other things I found out too is they said that parents that are my age and younger, so between the ages of 21 and 46 years old, are primarily getting most of their information from mobile technology. That's where they're going to. They're not sitting in front of a laptop, or not a laptop, or just a desktop to search things out. They're using their mobile technology. So, with that being said, can I put up a little demonstration up there? I can just share right from my phone. What do I need to do that? It's an iPhone. Okay. Got it.
And find the, I think it's called board.
Got it.
Yeah, and then type that code and it's on the screen, 0359.
0359.
And then click OK, and then we can see your screen. There you go. You're up.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to do just a really simple search here. So if I was a new parent who had just moved into Paul, or if I moved into Paul and I wanted to know who my junior high school kid's principal was, how would I find that out? So I'd have to go type in Minidoka School District, and it brings me here. And nice, I can go to staff directory and pull that up. And then it brings me here. Now I've used the website enough to know that if I scroll up, I can find where to put that in. But I can go ahead and type in, okay, I want to know who the principal, for West Minico is. So I'll go to West Minico, type in principal, and I go search. Brings me back here again. If I scroll up, it tells me we're unable to find anything that matched your search criteria. So I don't know who my principal is for my student. Now, American Falls is using this company that I visited with. I downloaded their app. American Falls immediately brings me here. I can go down here to the menu and go to staff, and I can then search down in that little square. You can't quite see it here, but on my phone I can see it really nice. It says schools, and I can go to see all schools, and let's just say I wanted to know William Thompson Middle School, and it immediately brings me up, and I know that Tyler Schaefer is my kid's principal. So that took me, while explaining it to you guys, like 7-10 seconds maybe. With our current information that we have through web technology, I couldn't get the answer to who my kid's principal is. That's frustrating as a parent. It goes far beyond that with theirs. If I go back to their homepage, I can just look. I can go in to find documents, and I can look up for that particular school, or I can go to the entire district and pull up whatever documents I want. It's really impressive that I can go here and go to the school board and then click underneath that, and all the school board meeting minutes and everything are right there. Our web platform, if you're sitting behind a laptop or at a desktop, is adequate. That's as much credit as I would give it. If you are from a mobile technology, which again, 90% of people my age who have kids in our school system are using mobile technology, it is archaic, our system. I've had many friends of mine, people within my area, who have told me that's one of their biggest frustrations is they don't even know what's going on. They can't see anything on the calendar. You know, if I go back to our website, and I go to the calendar, I can click on the calendar, and again, it populates the same page. If I scroll down, I can then pull the calendar up, which ours doesn't have much on it. If I go to American Falls and I go back to their homepage, if I go back to their homepage and then I go to the calendar from there, it just brings it all up. It's just all right there. And I honestly think that communication is one of the biggest tools that we have to really bring our parents into our community. We're asking a lot of our parents, we're asking a lot of our students, and we have, in my opinion, some of the best administrators and teachers you can find anywhere in the state. But when things as simple as finding out what's going on in your school or who your kid's principal is or their teacher is that frustrating? It makes it really hard on the parents. And so it's my recommendation, Madam Chair, that we look into some of this new technology. Now, that being said, Mrs. Johnson's already got ahead of it, and I appreciate that, Mrs. Johnson. She sent me over some information, and correct me in areas that I might mess up here, Mrs. Johnson. Currently, we're paying $17,500 annually for our current web platform. That's what you emailed me. This new web platform, the annual fee is, there's a base fee and then an additional $3 per student. With our current student head count, it would be $19,400. So it's a difference of just under $2,000 between our current platform and this new platform. There is a setup cost, and the setup cost, there's something to be said for that. We'd be looking at around $14,000 to set it up, the initial one-time setup fee, and then we'd be looking at around $19,400 annually. That could go up or down based upon head count of students, as it's a base fee plus an additional $3 per student. But in my opinion, the difference of the $1,900 annually, to me, would be well worth it. I really think as we improve our communication with our community, we will see our community become more invested in our schools and have a greater knowledge of what's going on. So that's all I have to say.
Could a platform like that be managed in-house?
That's the problem. So we can have everything up to date if we had a person dedicated to keep every site, everything. I mean, yeah, we could do it. But right now, like the Sequo's got their website, they update frequently. You're going to go to other school websites that aren't updating their calendars because we put that on the school end, and that's a lot of times not their priority to keep that up. So that will still continue.
The company that presented it did say they'd be happy to join us and talk more about it. And I know that they did get on a WebEx, I believe, with you. One of the things they did tell me, and I haven't seen this, but what they told me in meeting with me is that a lot of the updates could be done from the web platform, from the app platform itself. So each school would have an administrator and they could update it. And they said it could be updated extremely quickly, as simple as Mrs. Kidd does a great job of really being there and filming the Minico games on Facebook, which is awesome. But someone could also go on and update at halftime what the score of the Minico Burley game is. And if someone goes to the calendar, they look, they can click on it, actually pulled up there. So a lot of the stuff they said could be done right from the app platform. I don't know all what Mrs. Johnson and her team goes into, so I can't speak to that. But I would be interested in having them present to us to figure out how difficult it is versus what we're currently doing. American Falls is a smaller school district than us, and I just showed you what they're doing. somehow they've figured out how to be able to do it. I think we could do it too.
I'm right now trying to find my financial data on American Falls, and I can't find it at all. I mean, I know it's a lot of work because Brittany Darrington has spent a lot of time updating and getting the current one updated, but she also has other jobs to do, so it's almost like you have to have a full-time person being able. I have to do all of my own putting all financial stuff, putting all of that information, which I'm behind on. I will admit. But it takes numerous people that in different departments that have to upload all their data onto it. The company doesn't come in and do the stuff for you. You have to have people in-house that are able to always keep up on it, or it's no good either.
So I guess my feedback on that is we can stay with the status quo, which is broken, or we can look at trying to do something new and different. And if a school district like American Falls can figure it out, I have no doubt we can figure it out.
Maybe we need someone that can help us more with, that can be more dedicated to time. I know that you have Donna that does a lot of yours on your site. Donna Kevin does your site, but she's not going to be around forever either.
Sure.
And so, probably not very much longer. So,
I don't think it doesn't come without challenges, but do we have any parents who have similar frustrations to what I've had, or is it? Yeah.
I think we have students out there that are probably more tech than a lot of us, but
Well, even as a staff member, it's hard to find staff on staff directory. Like it's not user friendly. The website is not user friendly by any means.
I did figure out that if you type in administrator, you'll find out who the principals are, which is great, but it's just hard to know that if you're just going to search.
I have to go to each individual school to know what remind they sent me for the week, to know where, like it's not all one, if I want to know what's going on with these things, it's not all in one place.
Mr. Press,
Yes, ma'am.
this was the Apogee, right?
Apogee was,
Okay.
and I'm not married to a brand.
No.
I just thought their platform was really impressive.
They also have there was another company there that was representing someone called Parent Square, and it takes all of your communications into one place.
So I emailed you about that one. I think that was big. Like the problem is you want this one, you want this one, but they cross over.
But I didn't know if there was. I mean, it's a discussion that I would like to have with you.
They're different things, but there was a lot of crossover.
Right, and
like
so
maybe one had one thing and one had a different.
Right. But just looking at exploring, do we have options? I guess is my question. And that's what Mr. Prez wanted us to at least think about. Do we have options beyond what we're doing now?
I mean, there's always options as long as there's an increased budget for it.
Of course.
Have we also have we even reached out to Blackboard to show them the other things and say, hey, do we have capabilities that we're unaware of?
that's a thought because we're paying money for nothing. I'm seriously, guys.
We need to be asking these questions.
Yeah, no, and I'm not opposed to that. I'm fine with that. If they do have a really good app platform, I'd love to see it. And if it works even close to as smooth as this, I'm not opposed to staying with it. I just think where we're currently at is not a good state. It really isn't. It's just not good from, again, a mobile platform. From a desktop, it's a different story. From a mobile platform, it's not good. And that is where this generation currently is, and it's only going to continue to move that direction. We're not going backwards. I can promise you that.
PowerSchool called me today on an app that they've added on to PowerSchool. Okay, something that we're going to have to look at and for parents, and it's talking about absenteeism and on the fly being able to know if their kids are absent without the dialer, without having a second thing. Right, exactly. But I mean, every time we didn't know that PowerSchool had this extra app thing.
Right.
That she called today is something that we might want to look at. We don't know until we ask, hey,
Yeah.
You've seen this, do you have something that's comparable? What do you do, or what is comparable to what you offer?
And I think those questions need to be
Yeah,
asked by all
I'm
of it,
completely open to
all
that.
the way around.
I just would like to see some action taken to find out those answers, get some answers back, and move towards that sooner than later. Um, again, I'm one person, but the friends and family and people in my community that have talked to me about their frustration with our current system, it's time. We're actually past that time to catch up with where we need to be.
And of course, you have to understand that at these conventions, there's a whole room full of people wanting them to sell us
Exactly.
their product, and I get that. But we go around and we look and try to see what looks good for our district. And so those are some of the things that caught our eye as something that can this help us? Can this help us with our parents? Can it help us with our students? So that's the whole reason why we're looking at this. You know, just even think that Parent Square was fascinating to me. I didn't spend as much time as he did at the AppG one, but obviously they're there for a reason. But we also find out that way things that we don't know are out there.
Yep.
But it will take someone.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is you have to. I don't know if Brittany has more time on her hands to redo a whole new platform, but because it was a lot of work to set the new Blackboard that we just set up a year ago that we redone it all.
Yeah. I guess my thought on that is it breaks my heart that we've paid money and done so much time and energy to it and it doesn't work. So I'd rather pay money and put more time and energy to something that will work. And just from a 2-minute presentation, I don't think there's any questions that one is better, significantly better than the other. So, yes.
Talk to you all about accessibility options on that app.
How do you mean?
Yeah, I don't think you can sell it.
I don't think you can anymore, right?
Mrs. Hepworth had a question.
No, I was just gonna
Oh.
mention that it does take time,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
And but Brittany and Ashley, like you send something to them, I mean it's a I would say 24-hour or less turnaround, but then it pops back up on the website. But it does take time to have to like make it visually presentable and figure out how you want to have it on there. And if you want it, then you have to take time out of your day, out of something else, make it that way. And I mean, I'm the one that does the CFLA, and I've made time to do that because I hate the thought that there's a website with my name on it and it doesn't look like it's up to date.
Right.
That's a personal thing, right?
Yep.
But I don't go and look at our website through our app. I just pull up my laptop and.
Well, I guess conversely, I think about, granted, it would take the district more time to put this together. But how much time would it save our parents finding the information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
cover it well enough for you?
yeah, I think that was the main thing as far as communication. There was some other stuff that I had learned about as far as using social media to really push your message out to. And I think we can talk more about that as time goes on. But this was the main thing that I thought needed to be addressed. So yeah.
Mrs. Anderson, what were your main takes?
There was a lot there. I know. A ton. But I think a few of the highlights that I pulled out of it is what's our board vision? How are we doing? What do we want our students to achieve, and how can we help our administration achieve those? And that was one thing I was glad she did bring up the data on the test because that was brought up numerous times in different classes, and they were even talking of bringing that data and different things because some of them do testing weekly, and so they were giving out a monthly data sheet to their board so that their board could see by weeks, by months, how things were progressing. And I agree, that's a lot of work to do. But that's how they were. That's how they were proceeding forward, and that's how the board could keep track and try to help out. Um, there was one thing that brought out. I think I said it earlier. Um, it's more now than it was, I think, back in us, other than it's been talked about. But 66% of the students in our district, just in our district, have student mental health problems. That probably doesn't surprise a whole lot of you. And they went ahead and gave us some of the adult one too, which the teachers and some of the adults in our school district too, which was a little high, and it was 35% that nobody even knows or talks about. Yeah. So we need to take care of ourselves, and how do we do that before we can move on? So that's something that we probably need to try to figure out. I did let Mr. Revs know about some ESSER funds. I took a class on ESSER funds, and there is more out there. I'm just letting you know. I let him know, and this came from Lisa English and Kathy Garby. You ask, they're probably not going to say no. So keep asking. Keep asking. Keep asking. I'm just saying, keep asking. One other thing that we learned about was a board member needing to be on the committee meetings, the committees, on the advisory meeting, the parent meetings, administration meetings, financial advisory team, circulation or curriculum, policy, facility meetings, and there are to be clerical minutes at every one of them and turned in to the board. Because the reasoning of that is, again, letting the people know out there that we are transparable. Transparable. I'm going to be that here in a minute.
She's making up words now.
I am. Um, and they put it as a team moving forward is your superintendent, your board, and your board clerk is your bridge to your community. That person over there knows everything that pretty much goes on in this district, and she is a spokesperson. And they went along and said in that meeting, I liked it. I said everybody needs to have this up in their schools. Think before you speak. T is for true. H is for helpful. I is for inspiring. N is for necessary. And K is to be kind. So when you speak, is this what you're speaking? Or is it all negative? Okay. I have more, but there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Ramsey, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Didn't like the food.
I have to agree.
I attended the superintendent roundtable, and the gist of the superintendent's.
Japanese restaurant.
I think we better tell about this story.
We took him to an Oriental restaurant once.
Yeah, take him to a Japanese restaurant.
It's him and Mr. Cotton's fault.
I try to be a nice guy. Comes back to bite me.
He did very well.
The superintendent roundtable, the consensus of superintendents from all schools, whether it be charter, private, urban, rural, is no matter what legislation is passed, we will not be for it unless it helps all the schools. We don't want legislation that hurts one school but helps another school just because of ethnicity or size or location, because they're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the consensus of the administrators was we would not be in favor of any kind of legislation in that manner. And that was my big takeaway.
Probably the most helpful one one of the ones that was most helpful to me was a fellow named Ryan Cantrell, who Debbie Critchfield has appointed to her team for her new position as the head of the superintendent of schools. Thank you. Anyway, but he had really wonderful presentation on the 3-year strategic plan that he instituted at the Grandview Bruno School District, and his system that was built there, the trust that they grew, their teacher retention that they grew through a project, this plan of having this project out there. And it was just something that I'm going to mine for more content. And I think that we need to look at it as well. And it's something I intend to share with the other board members. And as we go forward, concentrating on having a strategic plan that guides and drives what we do. And Russ couldn't go. He was playing with irrigation equipment.
Bonnie,
Lucky.
Bonnie, before we move on to Dr. Parker, to your point, one thing I really liked about his presentation too that he talked about was the strategic vision led to his goals.
Yes.
And those were drilled in so much that soon he started meeting with his administrators, and his administrators' goals started matching his own. And then his administrator brought to him one of his teacher's goals that aligned with it too. And it said, after you're pushing in that same direction long enough, it starts to create some synergy from the superintendent to the administrators down to the teachers, and everyone's pushing in the same direction. And then that line graph we talked about showing the results was extremely impressive from where they started to where they're at now. He's been gone out of that district for 2 years now, and they're still climbing because of the system, not because of the person. Anyways.
Yes.
And
I
they
think
went
that's
from
part of their vision too. That
in the
they went on.
bottom 5, no, and they went from the bottom of all of the schools in Idaho on their results and scores to in the top 5% in a 4-year period of time.
Number 1 rural school, top 5% overall, number 1 rural
schools.
Yeah.
Bruno Grandview, however it is.
Kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was. And he admits it was the middle of nowhere. Yeah. He drove 75 miles a day one way to go be the superintendent of that school district.
That's commitment.
That was commitment.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Dr. Parker.
Well, I learned a long time ago, one of the very first things people will complain about at any conference is the food. And I can tell you, even aside from where we went to eat, the food wasn't all that great. So anyway, but the meeting was really good. I did learn something that it's been reinforced with me many, many times, and that is, as a board member, we have no power. And the other thing is really interesting is because people think we have power. They come to us with all their complaints. And, the thing of it is if they come to us, we're supposed to tell them, if you want to tell us this story, and if it ever comes up, we have to recuse ourselves from any process that's going to take place. And I think everybody needs to know that. Because our only thing that we can control is if we have somebody come to us, we need to send them to the right person within the district that should take care of the problem. And then they follow the chain through that. The only thing we can control is over here. We can ask the superintendent to do something. That's all we can do. But so when people come to us, we're powerless. Another thing I learned was that came to me as kind of I guess something I didn't know. I went to a meeting that was about new board members. Of course, I'm not as new as some people here, but I am very new considering what it takes to learn all of what goes on here. New board member meeting, they said that in January, all of the offices up here, the superintendent dismisses them all. And then he opens the board up for nominations. And we start all over again with president, vice president, or chair, vice chair. And I also learned that one of those appointments can be a treasurer, which is kind of interesting. One of the board members can be a treasurer, which would mean the treasurer would work with the business office to bring back material to the board members to help them understand what goes on in the business office, the way I understand it. So that was new to me. The other thing, because I am kind of interested in curriculum, I learned that it's up to the board to appoint a curriculum selection committee, and that curriculum selection committee now has to contain half of the members of it have to be non-public school people or parents on the selection committee for the curriculum, and then the board approves the final curriculum. So those were kind of my takeaways from a lot of stuff to learn, and it was good just to get with other school boards and hear what they had to say and find out we all face some of the same problems. But it was a really good meeting that way. That's all I have.
Okay.
Unless you want to hear about the airport. Yes, I do, so they'll quit laughing. Should I tell?
You started it. Now you got to finish it. Well, we have to finish it.
Well, I don't know. Is this official school board business? It probably is. I might never fly again.
And you're being broadcasted.
Oh, maybe I don't want to say anything. Talk to me later if you want to know about
say
this.
TSA was not very nice to
Oh,
him.
gee.
Either airport.
Yeah.
Mr. Cotton, is there anything you would like to share from your time there?
No, there's just a few things I know, some updates on how they're recommending to follow meeting laws. One of them, I don't know if we're doing this without Terry can answer, but after we approve personnel, they say, in the minutes you should include the name of the individuals that were hired and the positions they were hired for.
That goes on the minutes for next month.
Yes, you usually do that.
Next month, yeah, with all the personnel.
So it's all there for.
Should it be announced at the meeting? Because not everybody sees or reads the board book.
They kind of talk about how that's more function of how many people you have on there. Larger districts, I mean, you get either for a while going through every July or some meetings. Districts, it's not a big deal.
Okay. Food for thought. Okay. Well, we know that it costs money to send us there, but we do very much appreciate the district sending us, and the learning opportunities are amazing. And we also find that the camaraderie, getting to know each other a little better, and finding out how Dr. Parker can't get through TSA too easily, and how much he doesn't like Japanese food, then it's a memory maker, but it's a huge learning experience. And I do want to thank the district for the opportunity that we have to get to go to something like that. If we're going to serve well, I believe we need to know what we need to know. And that's the only way we really can find it out. So, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Superintendent here on his report?
One more thing about ISBA. I believe our region has a new chair for our region, do we not?
New vice chair.
Oh, vice chair.
A new vice chair.
A new vice chair
for our region 4. And that would be our chair, Bonnie Hines.
Yeah, Bonnie Hines is the vice chair
new
for our
vice
region.
chair for Region 4.
Just 3 more meetings a year to go.
Yeah, there you go.
Any of the policies that we have before us tonight for discussion? Pardon me? There were none, but we have some that we were going to look at in business. In the bottom. So no one has questions about
Yeah,
those.
you want the whole policy at D4
Yeah.
or F4.
So the business for tonight is approval, number 1, approval of the year-end audit. Did anyone have any comments or questions for any part of that? Mr. Catmull was the auditor this year again, and he came and presented to us at 5 o'clock his findings, and it's a clear audit, or a clean audit for the district as well as the federal audit that he did, federal part of the audit that he did, and got some questions answered, so it's always good to know those things, but we do also need to approve it. So I would entertain a motion for approval of the year-end audit.
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we approve the end of year audit.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Perez, second by Mr. Parker to approve the year-end audit. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The Mount Harrison fundraising request that was before us. Does anyone have any comments or questions about it? Letting them go ahead and do this. Okay. Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion for approval of the Mount Harrison fundraising request.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Sukan. Second by Mrs. Anderson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The middle school request, I do believe we're going to wait for more information and see what we can do then. Is that what you guys took from that?
Yes.
And that we can get more? Other than that, do we need to have a motion on agreeing to pay for the busing? That we would pay for the busing for not only the middle school but the high school to keep things equal.
I think my only question about that is, are we talking about 3 or 4 buses, or are we going to try to combine everything onto, if we can get it down to where we're talking about 1 bus, I'm great with that. If we're talking about paying for multiple buses, I think I'd like to revisit that a little bit further.
Well, or were they going to try to raise funds through their concert and kind of see where they came out there?
I think they were needing 2 vehicles
Because of the different
transportation
different logistics.
That's right.
To go
That's
to
right.
different places. Now you said you could get by with a minibus, right?
Yes, my room will fit just barely into a minibus.
Okay, and
That would be them taking a minibus. You told me 1.3 minibuses? Because what we're saying is when you get to Pocatello, there are 3 different rehearsal and concert locations. Because you have band, choir, and orchestra.
If they can find a bus driver to be with you the whole time, you can do 1 bus. So the bus driver's picking kids around.
Yes, and we would just have to plan the timing, obviously, that some kids would get dropped off early.
I would be more in favor of that than in multiple buses.
And then the bus driver would
okay. So in order to go forward, I think we need to have a motion to approve the busing costs for the honor band, honor concert.
For both the junior
all
high
state.
and the high school.
Buses.
Yes.
1 minibus and 1 regular bus.
Well, however it works out most logistically.
Right.
And accommodations for the bus driver.
Yeah.
So we would need 2 buses, 1 minibus.
Well, not necessarily.
You can do 1 regular bus to do like 16 kids or so.
They're thinking they can do 1 if they can work the logistics out.
Of the driver. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So are there any other questions?
So we're approving 1 bus?
1 bus.
We are approving paying for 1 bus or however the logistics work out most economically
Equitably.
and equitably and economically for the logistics of the.
Oh, that's not going in
Look at her hair.
I know it.
We know how frustrated Carrie gets by how wide her hair gets. So
Can we just say the district will cover the busing?
the district will cover the busing and the driver.
Good.
Okay.
Good enough.
Okay,
The
so I
busing-
would entertain a motion for approval of the busing for the honor choir concert and choir all state music festival.
So moved.
All state music festival to cover busing and driver for the high school and the middle school.
Okay, and driver?
And
Yes.
driver.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to approve busing and driver for All-State Music Festival.
For middle school and high school students.
Okay.
In Pocatello. In February. Do you need the rest of that?
And Koki. Okay, gotcha.
All right.
Nothing more. Promise.
So with that motion, I would entertain a motion if somebody else wants to repeat it.
Do I have to repeat it, Madam Chair?
So moved.
Just, I will let you
I-
say so moved.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Anderson.
Okay.
She's got it all down.
Do I have to repeat it?
I got you.
I second it.
Okay.
Reed's kind of looking at me like,
Second by Mr. Parker. Further discussion? He's giving me the glare.
thank you.
Okay, are we good? Mr. Cotton, are you okay with this?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All those in favor
I'll
say
repeat it if you
aye.
want me to.
Any opposed?
Aye.
We're going to help you some way, somehow. I would request a comment on D, approval of revised job descriptions. I request a comment. Are we going to table for now?
Yes.
We need to make it into the minutes as what we're going to be
You
doing.
want them in minutes?
I'd say that we table it till next month.
Okay.
There was a lot this month.
So unanimous consent that we will table item D for more discussion.
Yes.
Okay, now we're down to the one that I tried to get on earlier. Expulsion of student 11/28/22/1 and the extended suspension of student 11/28/22/2.
And you're extending it 5 days.
And the motion needs to include the extension of 5 days added to student number 2.
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Anderson.
I'd like to
Move for approval.
move for approval expulsion of student 11-28-22-1 and for suspension of student with extended suspension of student for 5 days of 11 additional 5 days to 11-28-2 28-22-2.
Madam Chair, second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Anderson, second by Mr. Perez. Would you please read that back when you get it typed?
A motion to approve the expulsion of student 11/28/22/1 and the extended suspension for an additional 5 days to student 11/28/22/2 was made by trustee Anderson, seconded by trustee Perez.
Okay. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Policy 1, extended learning opportunities. Policy 2 are second readings. What is the board's, let's see. Do you want to hold that for third reading or do you want to see it pass?
Yeah.
On all of them?
Yes.
Or just number 4?
1 and 2, yes.
And 4.
And number 4, yes.
Okay.
So there's only 1, 2, 3.
Oh, say.
And
So
that's first reading.
that would be number 3, policy D500, personnel code of ethics. And with that, I would entertain a motion for approval of policy D500.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Sukan,
Second.
second by Mrs. Anderson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. So we will see 1, 2, and 4 later.
Yes.
Okay? Are you ready? I would entertain a motion for adjournment unless there's something else.
Can we say something about the arrival of items for the board
Yes,
coming
please.
on Wednesday? So that as board members, we have at least a weekend to read it and not getting stuff over the weekend and into the day we're holding the board meeting. If it doesn't come in by Wednesday, it goes into the next board meeting.
The next month.
So
The
next month.
for Wednesday before the board meeting, everything
before
needs to be put in.
Agenda review, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
After agenda?
because agenda review is held second Monday of the month. by the
all information.
by Wednesday, we want to have the information to Mrs. Tibbetts so that she can have it posted for us no later than Friday, because we need the weekend to digest it.
Okay.
It's just too much.
If not, it gets held to the next month.
And if it doesn't come in, it gets held. So
We want to be able to ask some intelligent questions. There's no way you can do that when it's continually coming in.
Okay, so if it's not received by that timeline, it will be held next month?
Following
next
month,
month.
board meeting.
Okay.
Unless it's a bit.
and that is our request.
Yeah, these ones that we got at 4 or 5 o'clock today were not experienced.
And I think because we had this discussion in June, July, the exact same discussion of you guys are talking like we need them earlier, but
Well,
I think we need your support that you'll back up if we say like we can't send it on to the
We're done. This was a miserable weekend for coming after Thanksgiving and the things coming in. It was too much, and I felt like I couldn't give good answers.
stuff we get like on the day of the board meeting, we may not even have a chance to look at it.
Yeah, 4 o'clock we were getting stuff today. And it's like, in fact, at ISBA, one of the meetings, it says if we don't have our stuff a week before, it's turned away.
So, Madam
And
Chair,
have a
if I receive something from someone, principal or otherwise, Thursday or Friday, do I have permission to say I did not receive this on the timeline? It will be held till next month, or would you like me to send it on to you guys to say it? Mr. Ramsey say it? I have no problem saying that.
Well, I think
If I'm the one that has to post it.
a little common sense could be. I mean, if it's an emergency, that's one thing. But
Right.
If it's something that
Everything can become an emergency.
Yeah.
Everything can.
We just need to be black and white that it's not in by Wednesday.
you
I will
It would
contact
be
you guys.
detrimental
Okay.
to the process.
Yeah, if it's not in by Wednesday, it's going to be difficult for us to know. So I want the Wednesday 5 o'clock deadline. I think that's only fair.
I second that.
Adjourn.
Didn't we have a motion? Okay.
Run a second.
Motion for adjournment from Mr. Parker and second by Mr. Perez. Right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.